Hey, so I literally just composed a new piece of piano music, and I wanted to make this video to talk about the process I went through and some of the key ingredients that you need to compose your own music on the piano. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, I've composed music for 10 years now, and I've composed hundreds of pieces of music on the piano. And I literally just did this now in the past hour of my life. So it's fresh off the grill, if you will. Okay, let's get into it. The first ingredient that you need is emotion. Okay, so I was sitting at my desk feeling a little bit down about certain things in my life, and that's normal. It's so normal to feel emotion. Thankfully, we have the piano that we can express that emotion at, and so I felt the pull to sit at the piano, and I started just improvising some ideas and playing around, and eventually I composed this piece of music here. Okay, so that's like the key idea that I just composed, and it literally came from that emotion. Okay, so that is literally the first key ingredient. Emotion, it's not entirely necessary, but it's extremely helpful because emotion naturally wants to be expressed outward. Okay, it's emotion. It wants to move. It wants to be expelled through your body. I'm not a master of emotion, but as a musician and a creative musician, emotion is like one of the core ingredients of expression, right? And so you want to use emotion whenever you're feeling down or maybe excited or ecstatic or depressed. Whatever your emotion is, you can find a way to kind of explore that on the piano. So that brings us to our second key ingredient to compose your own original music on the piano, which is improvisation. This is the most important thing. Okay, you need to be able to improvise on the piano. You need to be able to experiment and explore ideas and to allow yourself to fail, to allow yourself to sound bad, to allow whatever wants to emerge naturally without judging it. That's the key to improvisation. It's literally just letting yourself improvise. And it doesn't matter what stage of your piano journey you're at, you can improvise. Okay, improvising doesn't have to sound good. Okay, it's not about sounding good. It's just about sitting at the piano and expressing yourself. Okay, I have this concept called throwing fingers, which is, the name suggests, is where you throw your fingers down and you let your fingers and hands wander as they will. Let them play whatever they want to, and don't judge what emerges. Okay, this is throwing fingers. Right? And so what's going to happen when you throw fingers is your hands and fingers are naturally going to form into certain shapes and movements. Okay, so these shapes and movements are skills. Okay, so that's the third key ingredient that you need when it comes to composing your own music on the piano, is that you need skills to actually use to explore ideas and to improvise and compose with. Okay, so for example, I could sit down and play this. Okay, so let's say that's something that naturally emerged when I sat down to throw fingers and improvise on the piano using the emotions that I was feeling. Okay, well, these are all skills that I'm using directly in the hands and fingers, right? So what I'm doing there is I'm playing a G minor chord. I'm starting here in the left hand with a G, the root of the chord, and then I'm using this arpeggio pattern where we go root 5 octave and then climb up to the third of the chord. Okay, so that's the G minor chord. So that arpeggio is a skill that I have practiced, and it's now ingrained in the hands and fingers so that when I sit at the piano, I can naturally use that skill to express my ideas, to compose and improvise and play music. Okay, so that's what I could naturally play. And then I would do the same thing on the F. Okay, I know that works because, again, that's another skill that I've developed, right? I know that you can play a minor chord and then directly a whole step down, you can play a major chord, and then again, another whole step down from that, you can play another major chord. Okay, so that's E flat major, and then a half step down from that, you can play another major chord, all using the same pattern, the same arpeggio pattern, right? Skills are absolutely critical. Knowing the skills, knowing a little bit of the theory of how music actually works in terms of like scales and keys and chords and things like that. Here on the right hand, we've got these inverted triads. Okay, so that's just a G minor triad in its inversion with the fifth on the bottom. Oh, that wasn't right. That's okay. When you make mistakes, it doesn't matter. You're just experimenting. If you play a wrong note or if it sounds ugly and bad, don't judge it. If you get in the habit of judging things and stopping yourself when it sounds bad, you're not going to be vulnerable enough and allow the original ideas to emerge. They need to emerge through bad, sucky sounding stuff on the piano for you to get to the gold, okay? It's like, imagine you're sifting through gold. There's so much mud and dirt there, right? But you're not going to reach the gold if you're unwilling to get your hands dirty, okay? So G minor, F. Again, that's just an F major triad in its inversion, right? Same thing, E flat major triad inversion. D major inverted, okay? So yeah, skills are so important on the piano. Now, this requires taking a skills-based approach to learning the keyboard and the piano, which is exactly how I teach, because skills allow you to express yourself in so many different ways, compose ideas, be creative, improvise, even play the tunes that you love in a unique kind of way, in a way that you want to play them, right? If you've seen any of my tutorials on this channel, you would know that this is how I teach the piano. I also have a full system for teaching you this skills-based approach called Unlock the Keyboard Pro, which will be the top link in the description if you're interested in really developing these skills and knowing how they work. And then the fourth key ingredient is you need the seed of an idea, okay? You need something to build upon. So when I sat down at the piano about an hour ago with that emotion, improvising and using the skills, what naturally emerged was this. Okay, so in the left hand, I played this pattern where we have C minor 7, E flat major 7, G minor 7, F major. So I played this chord progression. Why? Well, I know these chords work together. That's a chord progression I've played before, and it just naturally emerged, right? And in the right hand, I started exploring some ideas, okay? Okay, so this is what I call a seed, okay? It's something that I latch upon because, whoa, it sounds good, you know? Ideas are going to resonate with you. When they naturally emerge, there are going to be certain ideas that you're like, whoa, that feels good, that I like that sounds good. And that is a seed, okay? And then the fifth and final ingredient is that you need to develop that seed. You need to water that seed, which is you need to know how to compose and build upon an idea, okay? So that's my seed. That's my idea. I haven't really got anything in the right hand yet. I'm just kind of noodling and improvising, okay? That's another form of improvisation that I talk about called it's called contained improvisation, where we've got a set chord progression in the left hand, let's say, and we're only improvising in the right hand. Which can be a really good way to improvise because it makes it easier for yourself, because like half of the work is done and you're only improvising with the other half, if that makes sense. So this fifth ingredient is knowing how to actually develop the idea and compose it, okay? So that again requires improvisation. It requires exploring your different options with the skills that you have, okay? I just played around with a lot of different ideas. Like for example, I played around with this. Right? And I just explored various different chord shapes in the right hand, different configurations of these same chords, and eventually I arrived at this. I'm not playing it perfectly because I literally just came up with it moments ago. But when it comes to composition, you need contrast. You need tension and resolution, right? Conflict and resolution. That's how stories work. Okay, so let me show you here. What I've got to start this piece off is this. What stands out to you? Well, of course, it's the melody, right? With composition, it's really good to establish an idea. So I would play it twice. That's twice. And then what you would do the third time is you'll play a contrasting idea, right? This is what turns the melody into a story. So we go da 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 da. Come back to the original idea. Okay, so composition is another skill that you can develop, knowing how to build upon certain ideas with contrasting sections, contrasting dynamics, articulation, chords. I mean, it's an infinite rabbit hole, right? But that's why I'm here. I'm here to teach the piano. I'm here to teach skills. I'm here to teach all of that stuff. So if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe to the channel. And if you want to speed run that journey, you can sign up to one-on-one coaching. I teach this in a very direct way, and also I can help you craft your own original ideas if that's what you're interested in. Otherwise, there is Unlock the Keyboard Pro. So that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck with composing your own things on the piano, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.